Hey, spoilers ahead for both campaigns. So I spent the entirety of quarantine binge watching Campaign 1 of Critical Role, and as of August 22nd, I am finally finished. After finishing, I couldn't help but reflect on some of the better moments of the over 200 episodes of the show I've watched over the past 2 years of both campaigns, and I realized that there are a lot of them. The counterspell, the cupcake, the other counterspell, what's my mother's name, the deck of many things. There are so many moments that are so great, but only two of them stood out over the rest, one for each campaign. The moments I'm about to cover are both roleplay moments, and I will say moments like the cupcake and the counterspell are probably more legendary and just flat out better than this, but these roleplay moments just show how poetic this game can get sometimes, so I'm going to start with Campaign 1. Episode 99. After leaving his home, Tyrion Darrington returns a year later with his newfound friends to find his family basically on the toll road straight to destination destitution. After doing one a hell of a favor for a crime family that got Terry's family in trouble in the first place, he returns to have a talk with his father. In the clip, he starts trying to explain what he wants his family to be and uses his new family in Vox Machina as an example. This is the clip.
Dally around the world having fun. I was learning about the world and about life and about family. I was learning from these fine people what it means to really be a family and care about each other. I learned from Grog and Vax what it means to be a man and to be a father. I learned from Pike what it means to be a caring mother. I learned from Keyleth what a real sister is like, one who loves you and cares for you. I learned from Vex what a best friend is like. These are things that you never gave us growing up. I even learned from Percival the type of man I would want to marry one day. And we never got that at home.
There's a lot of interesting things going on about this, so I'm going to break it down. To preface the scene, according to Sam during this episode's Vox Machina, this was entirely improvised. Sam said that he knew what he wanted to say, just not how he was going to say it. And because the scene was reactionary to what his father had said, it's safe to assume this was not prepared aside from maybe that last line. Looking at the entire excerpt, the main thing that stands out to me is just the raw amount of parallels that are stuffed into this thing. The one thing my freshman year English teacher nailed into me was parallel structure, and once you have that nailed in your head, it is so easy to pick out. For those of you who didn't cover parallel structure when reading To Kill a Mockingbird, let me give you a rundown. Parallel structure is when multiple clauses or sentences use very similar structure to each other. The structure can range from the first few words being the same in each sentence all the way to having the exact same meter. As long as some structure is inherited from one clause or sentence to the next, it's parallel structure. The structure here is very easy to pick out. It's Sam just starting each line with "I learned from." What's even better is that this parallel structure is used to reflect another use of parallels, this time not in the structure, but instead of the content of the speech. At first I wondered why each of the members he called out reminded him of such specific things: a sister, a friend, a mother, a father. But then I realized what he was doing. He was calling out everybody in that room that carried the Darrington name. He was tying a narrative thread from each member of Vox Machina to a member of the Darrington family. Grog and Vax to his father, Pike to his mother, Keyleth to his sister, Vex to the Dragonborn servant. The fact that he uses parallel structure to create parallels between the two is fantastic. And what's better is Sam doesn't go deeper into this. He knows that his dad understood exactly what he meant from the entire speech, and he didn't have to clarify or go further with the parallels. I've been mostly avoiding that last line because it's honestly amazing. Aside from OMG Terry Gay, it answers so many questions about Terry that everybody had up to this point, as well as just being such an elegant way of absolutely shutting down his father. It explains why Terry was so adamant on refusing to marry that girl. It explains why he was so confused on how picking up women worked when Vox Machina first took Terry home, and it explains why he held Percy on such a high pedestal. What it accomplishes as a speech is wonderful. In a beautiful way, it lays out the grievances of the Darrington family and how a ragtag group of adventurers were able to do better as a family than his actual family. It's brutal, and it just stood out to me as one of the best RP moments of C1. Ready to cry over Molly now? Because I'm not. The moment I chose for C2 is actually two moments that my mind melds into one. The moments are episode 26, Found and Lost, and the next episode, episode 27, Converging Fury. The first part, to most people, even me, didn't really stand out until after Molly dies. Spoilers. It's just simple talk between Bo and Molly during their watch over a game of cards. They bet over the cards, and whoever loses has to tell a story. Eventually, Molly decides he's going to tell his story anyways. Their stories are under the prompt, what was the best lie you ever told? I'm just going to play the clip.
Want to gamble?
I'm not much of a gambler. You're thinking a jester.
No, I'm not.
What?
This is a game we used to play.
What?
Take my cards, put the deck down, put a question on the deck. Whoever draws the highest card has to answer it.
Wait, are these like playing cards or your tarot cards?
Tarot cards, well, they got numbers.
You know I fucking hate those things.
I know.
I don't want anything to do with them.
I'll throw one out there for you. What's the best lie you've ever told?
The best lie I've ever told?
I'll give you mine if you give you yours. Whoever gets the highest has to tell. Or whoever gets the lowest has to tell.
All right, deal.
Let's roll d20 to see whose number's lower.
Yeah.
Okay, let me flip to my backstory. Natural 20.
17.
You played yourself.
I did.
This one has a pretty big number on it.
Shite.
Yeah.
Best lie I've ever told. I pretended to be royalty for 3 weeks. For a scam.
That's fascinating. What kind of scam?
It's just a little while after I had gotten my consciousness sort of sorted out, and we got into a town and figured out that we could actually get some nice digs, and they were seeing if I could maybe bullshit my way through it, and it was kind of my test. So I pretended to be a reincarnated royalty from across the sea.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty fascinating.
That was a lot of fun.
Do you not like knowing your past? That a way you can have multiple backstories? Be multiple people at once?
I like knowing that because it's not there, that it doesn't matter, and it helps. It helps knowing I don't think it matters for anybody. I don't care where anybody's from. It's nice. I certainly don't care where I'm from.
I'll tell you one of my best lies, one that I was most proud of.
Or I pass the drink.
Just because that was a pretty good
That's
one.
usually how this rolls.
Yeah. There was a politician in the town that I grew up and didn't like very much.
Politician.
Didn't like his wife either. Wanted to find some dirt on him. Pretended to be a house hand for them, a little handyman. Found some dirt, figured out that they were cheating on each other, and destroyed their relationships and their lives. Maybe I shouldn't be proud of that, actually.
No, I'm very impressed actually. You are a good friend to have and a terrible enemy to make.
Yeah. Anyway,
Not quite being the worst people. Cheers.
Cheers.
Good night.
just maybe don't have a job that relies on relationships either.
That's very fair.
Public opinion.
I really had it coming.
Yeah.
The impact of the scene, although unknown to the group at that point, is going to ripple throughout the rest of the campaign. Watching this scene just hurts, but I love it all the same. When watching this scene, you start to see what kind of person Molly actually was. He was a trickster that worshipped the Moonweaver, yes, but he was a good trickster. He was not chaotic, even though he could have very easily been so. He decided to use his interesting situation as a strength in a way to pretend to better be other people in order to make the places he went better than he found them. And this story is the epitome of that philosophy. He feigned being a king to make the place he went just a little bit better, although still just being for his own gain. After this scene, in the night after Molly's death, the gang sit around a fire and mourn him. And this is the second part of this moment that I absolutely love.
Do y'all remember what Molly said few weeks ago when he told us that he left every town better than what he found it. When he first told me that, I remember my first initial knee-jerk reaction was, you fucking arrogant, narcissistic bastard. No one can fucking know that. He was an arrogant bastard, but he was right. And do you know how I know? We had a conversation last night. We were up for watch. And he asked me what my greatest lie was, and we pulled fucking cards for it. Loser would go first. And he told me this story about tricking a town into thinking he was royalty and being a king to pull off a scam. And I was almost gonna tell him about my childhood, and I didn't, because he told that fucking story. And I realized even in his scams, when he was doing something shitty, he was still making people feel good or feel special. Like the town was being visited by, graced by his presence, by his royal highness. And I told him this story of ruining a couple's lives by extorting them because I fucking could. Because I fucking felt like it. So I realized if I can deliberately leave a town shittier than what I found it, of course he could fucking leave a town better than what he found it. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm gonna go off and be a fucking hero, but maybe we can equal out and I can at least not fuck any more shit up. And take baby steps towards the leaving the town better thing. So that's the least I can do for him. I'm gonna start with these fuckheads.
I'll take you there.
All right.
And this is exactly why I love Marisha Ray. She is phenomenal not only at role-playing, but also at just playing a specific character. There was an entire group of anti-Marisha during Campaign 1 because Marisha played Keyleth as so dumb, and that's just how good she is. People forget she's playing a character. This is one of those standout moments to me. She got right down into the head of Bo and recognized what impact her last conversation with Molly really had on her. She had an epiphany. She realized the difference between the two lies. She realized that her lie made her out to be an absolute jackass, while Molly just did good with his. Why should she keep going with that if her lying only does nothing good for others? Lying is a major part of our lives, and is even more important in D&D. But what form of that lying takes is very important. Bo finally separates good lying from bad lying. She realizes that lying doesn't always have to be bad. So she adopts a new mindset. Leave places better than she found them, just like Molly did. So fast forward almost 100 episodes and we find the Mighty Nine on the island of Rumblecusp, and they just have slaughtered Vokodo. The journey they took to finishing off Vokodo was a journey of lies and pretending in order to give the lives back to those that Vokodo stole from. They left a place so much better than they found it, even if the situation can be a huge argument in whether the actions are actually moral or not. And now the Nine are left with yet another task, to make Artigan not be a god while also not destroying the faith of a few hundred people. And when discussing how they're actually going to do that, you can just hear Molly's influence on them. They didn't want to do what Artigan was suggesting, which was basically say that, oh, I'm not a god anymore, and blame it on them. And that's kind of damaging on somebody's faith. They are trying to tell a lie that will make everybody better in the long run. This is kind of Molly's ultimate test for them, and I'm curious to see if they actually do it. Hey y'all, thanks a lot for watching. I know it was like 4 or 5 months ago that I said that I would have like 2 more videos out in the next 2 weeks. Sorry about that. But I got sucked into a really, really big project that I am hoping will be out within the next month for another channel that I'm working on with a friend. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you all know on this channel and on Twitter and whatnot. But yeah, so thanks for watching this short little video that I threw together in a day and a half. And yeah, see ya.